Hi there, Paula de Fougerolles here. I'm a medieval historian and author specializing in the languages, literatures, and histories of Britain, Ireland, and Scotland in the 6th century, what we used to call the Dark Ages. I'm writing a series of historical fiction novels called the Chronicles of Iona, based on the untold true story of the two men who in the 6th century founded the monastery of Iona, which went on to become one of the greatest centers of civilization, learning, and culture in Dark Age Europe, as well as the nascent kingdom of Scotland. One was a Scottish warlord, Aidan McGabran, and the other was an exiled Irish abbot, Columba of Iona. But because it's such an early period, we don't have a lot of primary sources, so it is a work of fiction. And I like to think of it as like the stories of King Arthur, but true. So as a bit of background, in the 6th century, the Roman Empire is long gone, the civilized world has been upended, chaos reigns, and life, as it's been called, was nasty, brutish, and short. It's quite a calamitous time to be alive. In fact, the year 536 has recently been claimed as the worst year to be alive ever, because a series of volcanic eruptions in Iceland in the late 530s and in the 540s plunged the Western Hemisphere into decades of darkness. For 18 months, there was no sunlight. And then on top of that, the Great Plague of the 540s swept across the planet, but it wiped out up to 50% of the population. Things didn't ease up until about 640, so it took about a century for life to go somewhat back to normal. And suffering all of this were four very disparate and warring peoples in the British Isles. We had the Irish and the Scots in the west, we had the Picts in the north, we had the Britons in the south, and we had the Saxons encroaching in the east. And they were kept apart by language and customs and how they saw their gods, but they were held together by the turbulent seas, which were like the treacherous highways of the Dark Ages. So it's unlike the Middle Ages that you think you know. It's a lot worse. It's like this last year, actually. It's like 2020, except knee-deep in mud and misery. And survival for people lies in community. It lies with your kin. Once you venture outside of the boundaries of your kingdom, you lose all of your status. You lose all of your rights, and you can be enslaved or maimed or killed by anyone. So what happens if you do get thrown out? How do you possibly survive? And this is precisely what happens to Columba in 563. This is where, in Exile, I pick up the story. Columba is one of the most powerful and privileged men in his society, and then suddenly he's cast out of Ireland. He's excommunicated and then exiled in 563 for some heinous and unnameable act. And he is exiled to the west coast of Scotland, to the kingdom of Dalriada, which at the time was a barbarian backwater, a frontier zone, or the Wild West, the least safe place to be in a very treacherous world. Except that he's a stubborn, headstrong, and arrogant sort of person. He's got very radical, very big ideas. So instead of dying, he's taken in by Aidan McGabran, who is the second son of the colony's previous king, slain by the Picts, a young man who is as destitute and desperate as he is. In this dangerous new world, Columba must find a way to survive, and Aidan a reason to. So read Exile to find out how, and this is spoilers here, from such inauspicious beginnings is born an extraordinary friendship, a friendship that sparks off a series of events that literally changed the world. It's the stuff of legend, but it's true. That's it from me. Happy reading, and if you'd like to know more, check out the websites below.